Yeah, what else? Nutrition, obviously. I spoke a lot about nutrition. I think nutrition as a protective factor. And there was one study suggesting that breastfeeding was beneficial to young children, again, speaking of that postnatal influence. And then there was also, they saw that those children who were given formula that had been supplemented, that had been fortified with arachidonic acid or DHA, seem to also seem to be as good as breastfeeding. So it may be that the older formulas, and I believe they've been fortifying more and more of those infant formulas. So maybe that will help. But the nutrition is so complicated and so critical at multiple stages along the way. So I don't know, those are a few of them. I don't know, probably wasn't 10, but
you mentioned nutrition and prenatal vitamins, and folic acid is the one that got a lot of national coverage, and 40% decreased if you take prenatal or early conceptual folate. And I hope we can recognize that folic acid is required for that epigenetic regulation, that methylation. It's an essential cofactor for that. So we can see convergent information coming here, and we need equal amount of attention to epigenetics that folic acid got. And so it's an awareness kind of thing, as well as legislative actions that need to be taken here to address this big problem that's it's a generational problem that's affecting the future generations as we speak.
And I just want to say that the way forward in terms of intervention, there may be many fronts that we can be, moving forward. One of them is just educational. A lot more women should be taking those prenatal supplements before they get pregnant. The problem is that half of pregnancies are not planned. So really, I think, maybe that some of the, American Academy of Pediatrics and maybe the American Academy of Obstetrics and Gynecology should be really looking at, should we be recommending that all women start taking folic acid, when they turn, reproductive age? Or, might we screen? We found that the effect of the folic acid, not getting those prenatal supplements, was extremely high in mothers who happen to have the gene where they don't convert folic acid to folate very efficiently, or the child has the gene. So there are genetic subgroups in the population who will be more susceptible, and that would be true probably of each of these different factors that we've talked about. Maybe we screen girls and we find out which ones are the ones that really need to be getting the higher levels of the folic acid, so that they, maybe the whole population doesn't need to be on folic acid, but the ones who we know are genetically particularly vulnerable. So the gene-environment interaction is actually another really important area, but it needs to be very targeted at factors we know. Oh yeah, so I was going to say, so there's individuals, so there's educating people, there's people changing their behaviors, and then there may be some things where we really need to legislate. Maybe some of the factors related to more global things, back to air pollution, or the chemicals that go into products, or how much high fructose corn syrup we allow in the food supply.
Good question.
Yeah, I was wondering if, along with the nutritional factors, are you looking at the genetically modified wheat and other products that are apparently not being labeled in some states?
Well, as I said earlier, air pollution is something we measure well. It's easier to study. A lot of these other things, it's harder to study. Women know if they took their prenatal supplement, how well do they remember it? Probably pretty well. Do they know what's in the food that they're eating, and can they report that? That gets really difficult. So I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm fairly sure it has not been done. And the kinds of studies that need to be conducted to really help us advance on all of these fronts are large, intensive data collection, and pretty expensive. And unfortunately, this is not a time where launching big studies is very popular. But
It does suggest something very obviously that parents could have a big control over. If you look at when we're talking about the increase happening and what was happening at the same time, and how much better a lot of children with autism do on a gluten-free diet. I mean, to me, it's like red flag.
Okay,